All right, this first passage, as discussed by Sick Dave, we've got a war between anthropologists. On the one hand, James Weiner, who says that video is the worst thing the world has ever known in terms of, dealing with indigenous cultures. And Ginsberg, on the other hand, says, nah, it's, it is an invaluable opportunity to strengthen native languages. And then the author finally chimes in the last paragraph and says, there's some evidence that Ginsberg may be right. So, our main point, there is this war between anthropologists, but there's some evidence that video may not be so bad after all. And answer choice C just says that exactly. So, that's why that's the answer there. For question number 2, best question ever, right? How does Ginsberg feel about Weiner? He's wrong. Fundamental rejection. For question 3, before we even begin to talk about an analogy, we have to understand what the passage said. And here the Kayapo have taken this Western technology and they have made it their own. The author says the camera is not so at odds with Kayapo culture that it transforms any Kayapo who uses it into a Westerner. Instead, in line 54, the representation of the ceremonies, everything from the camera work to the editing, all of it conforms to the same principle of beauty embodied in the ceremonies themselves. So, here you have an example of a group taking something new and different and making it their own. In the same exact way, in the 1940s, Latin American composers took this new African American jazz and put it in their music, but didn't change their music. They made the new thing part of their own thing. They remained faithful to the tradition of Latin American music. And the analogy is got to be just like what the author said in the passage, just like that. For question 4, there are 3 things that Weiner says about Western ontology. It is based on realism, immediacy, and self-expression. So I want realism, immediacy, or C, self-expression. For question 5, why do the Kayapo use video technology to create legal records? Well, because they're primarily an oral society in line 47. That's why. And that's what we need, a direct, explicit answer from the text. For number 6, how would Terence Turner deal with Weiner? And Terence Turner says, that's the Kayapo. Says the Kayapo have taken the Western technology and made it their own. In the last bit of the passage, the camera is not so at odds with the Kayapo that it transforms any Kayapo who uses it into a Westerner. And that's exactly the thing that Weiner said would happen, right? That it costs the people the very cultural identity they seek to record. Turner would have said, nuh-uh. D. Weiner underestimates their capacity for adapting the products for their own use. And we get that directly from what the passage said about the Kayapo. That they took it and made it their own. And notice that this is essentially the same question as question number 3. They just ask the same shit over and over, even within a single passage. For question 7, what did Ginsberg mean by technological determinism? Well, what does she say it is? In line 35, is technological determinism to argue that using a video camera makes you Western. So determinism is the idea that your technology shapes who you are. And we know that because the author said it. That's how you answer a question, You just go to the passage and see what it actually said. Technology makes you who you are. Cultures are shaped by the technologies that they use. Yep, that's what the passage said.